Welcome to the review side of Is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus Good? You know, we didn't really play through the main story again, but, well, I did, so we could unlock the side stories, but I could tell you from the experience, they didn't change a thing. The main story is exactly the same. You come to the Plus version for the side stories. And
from what you told me too, is that like it adds in like this new section of the game where you can like mess with files and see pictures and shit, as if like you're the whole thing. The
metaverse operating system. Yeah, that's
and that's where you do all the file manipulation as well.
Yeah, instead of actually going into the files and deleting them, you can just do it in the game now, which I thought was just like a quality of life, ease of access thing that they did. But then when I was talking about it with Steve the other day, he pointed out to me, oh yeah, they can't really delete files on console, can they?
Yeah.
So it's because of that. It's because they're putting this game on console. I just forgot that there was more than just a PC version.
I mean, I guess technically, if you wanted to, if you were playing on like Xbox, you could probably.
Okay, but like
you could probably.
There's also a Switch port coming out. So the side content. It explores like more in detail of like how the literature club was formed, what the characters are like, how their relationships are with each other, because that was something that was a little like absent from the base game, is that you explore the relationships of the characters with you, but you don't really see each other interact outside of like a few fights that like Yuri and Natsuki have.
Yeah, which they don't outright say that this is like a story that involves Bisky. Or rather, the main character, I should say. There's nothing that really says that, oh, this is what happens if he doesn't exist. It just simply shows their interactions with each other. And from what we've seen so far, like, when you get up to, what was the last one, Self-Love?
Or, Equals is the last one with...
Equals, this is the last one, but, like, that's kind of like a recap.
You're talking about, like the last, like...
The very
character
last
interaction,
yeah, which was not, so I guess technically Reflections as well, because they both, that's where it all really starts. The main story implies that Reflection and Self-Love kind of just never happened, because they have that same exact like fight with each other, where manga is legitimate and fantasy novels are legitimate and shit, and they have that type of fight as if it wasn't resolved, and It's very weird, but I like that they like explored that. I just kind of wish they explored more of what their home life was like, though.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too. A lot of the stories were very profound. They had a lot of life lessons that a lot of people need to hear to be able to thrive, not even just as friends, but like as human beings, just in general. And I liked a lot of the messages that the game was trying to put out there. Like, each theme was explored beautifully. And I will never forget that first poem that Monica writes with the smear. Like, that's profound.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That spoke to me.
I think what, like, really, like, got to me was Sayori's poem. That, like, really fucking fucked with me. More than the hanging.
Yeah, honestly, that was surprising, but like it hit. It was a really good exploration of the characters, and it makes me wish that the main character just didn't exist.
It's not his fault, though.
It's not his fault, but also like now we've seen what it's like when he does. It's like It's a Wonderful Life thing. We've seen what his life is, their lives are like without him, and it's so much better. That I want that for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just knowing that we show up and fucking ruin everything.
Force everybody to simp for the
us. Character. It makes me feel like an asshole.
So, like, you get emails after you do each section. Rather, you do each
side story.
Each side story, because each one has two parts. And there's like an underlying. We haven't like gotten all of the data yet.
Yeah, I feel like once we hit. I think it wasn't... This is what I was thinking, is like, I don't think it's dependent on beating side stories. I think it's dependent on hitting certain percentages of data collection. Once we start hitting like 50%, it starts giving us those emails. Because I was noticing that we got mail in the middle of side stories. We just didn't read them until we were done, because we just wanted to get it, get the rest of the story. But those imply a story that are very interesting. that there's like multiple versions of essentially Doki Doki Literature Club, where in each universe, they called it, the Monica in each of those games are like sentient.
Yeah.
But in one of the universes, I think it said that like Monica created her own character somehow, and we theorized that was the main character, because it said it was a character that was essentially just a husk and like had no personality whatsoever.
There's a saying that goes along the lines of how machines seek perfection through understanding of humans, whereas humans seek perfection through consistency. And I think what this is like showing is that like what's going on behind the scenes is that they're trying to put this AI through different simulations. This AI is essentially made these or rather put itself in a situation where it would have to learn human emotion and shit. And so, did they ever explain like how the other characters were made in those emails?
I think those characters were created by I think every character was created by the whoever's creating these.
What is
except for the main character.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were all put in there, and they gave Monica, I think they called like the administrative like control, but didn't, they don't tell her that she has that. She has to like discover that.
It's weird because like she goes through each and every character in the side stories, figuring it out naturally and trying to, because like Monica had the whole perception of that, oh, she has to be perfect, she has to do everything in a perfect way, but like she realizes that things aren't that simple. There's a lot of emotions that people go through and shit, and she like realizes that through Sayori, through I keep thinking Nagato because I'm thinking of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Yeah.
through Yuri, through Natsuki. And I feel like what happened in the main story was that for some fucking reason, it's probably given like a directive in the side story to just like grow, whereas for maybe Biscuit is just like the whole like placing something that the AI would want and then having her figure out a way to just get what she wants. And, from that, she figures out the administrative controls and fucks with everything.
Yeah, it's very confusing what they're going for, but it's also entirely possible that because we didn't 100% the game, we just played through it casually, we just don't have all the info yet.
Yeah.
I plan on, after, we're done here, I plan on 100%ing it myself, and I will report any findings to you if I find anything. But I want to go. I only have one complaint for Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, and
no
I don't
voice acting?
know. No, I don't know if you'll agree with me or not. With the way this game was advertised in the trailers, like at E3 and afterwards, I'm really disappointed, at least as far as I know, that they didn't add more horror elements.
Oh, horror elements, yeah.
Because they were very blatant in the trailers and even on the Steam page that Doki Doki Literature Club was the #1 psychological horror game like ever. And I really thought that we were going to see some horror elements, more added horror elements to this game. And there weren't any. All of the horror elements that are in the game are already there. We're already in the base game. I was expecting that the first, because I knew that the side stories had 2 halves, I was expecting that the first half would be normal, and then the second half would have some horror elements to it. But that wasn't the case. I don't know if I appreciate it more because of that. I'm just a little disappointed that I didn't get more scares. Because that's what I would expect out of this game.
I feel like one could argue one of the scariest things a person could go through is self-reflection. The things that the things that you like talk about are very like it's very unsettling.
It is very real.
It's very like real and very relatable. And,
but I would attest that to more of a drama than a horror. Like I'm talking like Act 2 of Literature Club base game.
Yeah.
Is horror. Psychological horror.
Sure. Isn't psychological horror just drama, though? really, if you think about it.
All right.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Fair enough. But like, one of the things that I really liked about base game Doki Doki Literature Club was that the game fucked with you.
Yeah, like
a lot.
I'm like joking about it right now, but when we were going through the side stories, like I was looking at the background the entire time, looking for like specific. The only weird thing that we've encountered is that one time we were going through dialogue, and for some reason it skipped through like one part, and like. But like
I think that was just like my computer lagging, rather than the game doing something weird.
I think there was something there, man.
I'll check when we edit, but like I'm not convinced. Yeah, like we finished this game at 88%, so there's a whole like 20% that I still have to get. Again, if there's anything that happens when we get to 100%, I'm definitely gonna tell you.
Because at the end of the day, I'm sure the horror element is probably within that 20%.
I'm hoping. I really am hoping. Something tells me that a lot of the extra data that I have to collect is going to be dependent on how I write poems, and that's going to be a little tedious. But hey, I'm not gonna like just not look it up. Like I'm gonna look up how to get each picture and stuff like that. I'm hoping that there's a reward for 100%, because I feel like this would be the type of game that would do that, because they did that for base game, where you go through all of the stories and then finish the game, and then you get a reward for that.
Yeah, and just to be clear with the side stories, there's nothing. It's literally just a light novel, or not a light novel, a visual novel.
Yeah,
you're reading all the way through. There's no like agency or choice needed from you.
Yeah, you're
literally reading through it. It's nothing like the base game where you go through and you make a choice or play the whole mini game. There's nothing, and so like you unlock things as you keep going through it, like the wallpapers and the pictures and the poems and such. But like that doesn't like. Don't do anything, but you kind of just go through it.
Yeah, you're just reading the whole time.
Which is nothing's bad about that, but it's
it's an observation.
It's just an observation.
It's something that if you didn't play through the game, which if you didn't, and you're watching this, I'm sorry for spoiling it, but there's the side stories are not game. Like there's no game to it. Yeah. There's no choices. There's nothing. Essentially, bottom line is that am I disappointed about there being like not any more horror in this game than there was in the base Literature Club game? Yes. But do I think that takes away from the side stories? No. Because I really like the character moments. They were really solid. The writing was deep and thought-provoking. I still think about, like, I think we started recording like the first part of this like a week ago. Mm-hmm. I still think about like stuff with the Monica and Sayori stuff.
Yeah.
Because that was very, like, it had such impact, and it was really interesting to like experience.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, this was a really like well written interaction between all of them. It gives like a good example of like the types of things that you should be doing with people that you care about, and it gives you insight as to how to deal with people that you feel are different from you. It just speaks for itself. It's very good. Yeah. I'm not that disappointed about the horror element to it. I mean, when I was going into it in the first place, before Plus even came out, like this was supposed to be just like what it was marketed for, to just be the cutesy girls doing cute things, and like. I wasn't expecting to like be messed with gently opening the door, and like and fucking seeing dead Sayoris everywhere after that.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised I wasn't spoiled for that. I think we're at the penultimate part of this video where we have to answer the question: is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus good?
I'd say it was good. It was a very, very good time. I don't think. Horror is a very nice spice to it, but at the end of the day, like they're kind of drawing you in with cute girls, and you don't really know what you could get out of that. And what I got out of it, in the end of it, was really it was very wholesome. You got a lot of good wholesome pictures, wholesome moments, very real fucking moments like anybody could relate to, whether it's with every character or with just one.
And just
it's a real. I'm not gonna say it's a good or bad. It's a real time. Like, it's real.
And just plain and simple, it was just really nice seeing these characters again.
Yeah. It's like it's like when you finish Naruto and then after a while you hear that Shippuden's coming out. It's like, holy shit! Now we get to see him again.
Is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus good? A resounding yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up all around.
Thumbs up. If I had 2 thumbs, I would still be giving a thumbs up.
Thank you everybody for watching our inaugural episode of Is It Good? I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything that we could do different with the show that you guys think would make it better, or even a way to upload it that you think would be better, please put that in the comments below. We want to keep doing this show. We think it's a really good concept. It's a really good way to get new games that are being talked about. We want to answer the question. We want to tell you guys if it's good or not. We want to help out in that sort of sense. So yeah, if there's anything that we could do better, let us know. If you like the video, like it, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Hit that bell to see, anything else that we're doing as soon as it comes out. Make sure you check up in the iCard for the, the playthrough that we did if you want to see reactions and stuff like that. We have social medias. We got Twitter and our Discord server down in the description. We also have a link to our merch page, and if you can donate to the channel, that would be really helpful. Question of the day. Do you think that Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is good if you played it for yourself?
If you disagree, go away.
Let us know why.
Let us know why. Let us know what your thoughts are.
Were you also a little disappointed that there wasn't that many horror elements added to the game?
Are you typing right now to let us know that we're completely wrong about how there's no horror and that we have to finish the game?
Yeah, honestly, that is also a big thing that I'm expecting. Is that they're like, you didn't 100% the game, so you really didn't. Whatever. We went into this wanting to do the side stories, so that's what we did.
Yes.
So anyway, without further ado, I'm Bottles.
I'm Maury.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.